there had to be answers. And so this obsession drove me to seek
Learn about
those
chess
answers
patterns.
ultimately. So with regard
Two
to
pieces lined
church,
up in the same
my wife
direction
and
that
I
support each other
became
are called a
more
batter.
and more
How
disillusioned
can white use the
with
rook batter to
organized
force his
church,
checkmate?
big church, whatever you want to call the church on the corner. As we studied and read and attended these churches,
Exactly. Now, can you checkmate
we
me?
became
Checkmate.
that these
How
churches
can the queen and bishop make a batter to set up
have
a quick checkmate?
been corrupted by the world and were not being faithful
checkmate?
to the word. And we
Checkmate.
just pew sitters. We were Sunday school teachers. I even preached once from the pulpit. We were there when the doors opened.
A queen in front of a batter
every
is
chance we
useful
could
for
be.
checkmate, but a less valuable
We were
piece in front
deeply
is better
involved
for
in
winning
churches.
churches. How can you increase the
And
pressure on the
that being
bishop?
involved also led to us questioning more, listening to the
Not the best move yet. Please try again.
listening to what other people were teaching, not just sitting there passively. That ultimately led us to home church. We abandoned the organized church as being corrupted and tried to do it ourselves. We had a church here at our home. It was me and my wife and my parents. My father is a retired Southern Baptist preacher. He was a Southern Baptist preacher for 25 years. And another couple that we had met 20 plus years ago at one of the churches we were in, and they joined us. So there were 6 of us.
Not the best move yet. Please try again.
Little home church inadvertently gave me the answer to one of my oldest questions.
Not the best move yet. Please try again.
My obsessive study also brought up,
Not the best move yet. Please try again.
and if you've studied the Bible for any period of time, you know that more and more questions come up the deeper you study, and you start to see things that are contradictions or differences, and if you're intellectually honest with yourself,
Not the best move yet. Please try again.
and explore them. But what happens
Not the best move yet. Please try again.
comes up? You can either explore it or you can ignore it.
Not the best move yet. Please try again.
Sets of those. I had the ones I was exploring and the ones I was
Can you put the queen in
actively
batter?
ignoring. I was actively exploring at this time that we're talking about now.
Not the best move yet. Please try again.
What is the gospel? Well, the Bible doesn't specifically.
Not the best move yet. Please try again.
It does not have a passage that
Can you
says
capture the pin?
this is what you should believe.
Exactly.
My study. What exactly is the gospel? What exactly does somebody
How
need to
should white
believe?
make a useful battery?
And why do there appear to be different requirements put forth by Jesus, by Paul, and even by James?
That was not the best move. Please try again.
Questions while this was going on.
Can you find the checkmate?
I had 2 ignored questions that
Checkmate.
for many years. The first
can we
one
disrupt
is
the battery of
Paul,
Black's Rooks?
when he was writing what we call 1st and 2nd Timothy, if he was at the end of his life as his thought,
Nice, their battery's ruined.
writing to Timothy like Timothy's brand new at this. Timothy had been with Paul and working with Paul for decades at that point. My other question, and this is the oldest of my questions, and this is the one that wound up getting answered with the church, was when the New Testament writers quoted the Old Testament, why do the passages never match up? The New Testament quoting the Old is always different. Sometimes it's subtle differences that you could chalk up to the writer just changing it just to make it feel a little bit. But other passages have some great big differences. Well, if there's no contradictions, there's got to be something. Well, it's this question that inadvertently got answered by the house church. The way we did it here is we would choose a book of the Bible and go through that book, chapter by chapter, one chapter a week. And we would all study it, discuss it, so on and so forth. We'd been doing that for a couple of years. And we were getting ready to start a new book, and my wife absolutely loved Exodus. She wanted to do Exodus. My father, having the seminary education and the knowledge of Greek and Hebrew he has, decided that he was going to do Exodus in the Septuagint. You'll have to, if you're not familiar with the Septuagint and the text, please go research that. It's pretty important to this. Well, we all decided to join. We said, all right, we'll all do the Septuagint. We all got versions of Brenton's translation of the Septuagint. And from the get-go, there were major differences between the Septuagint and our Bibles. Our Bibles, the text that is used for the Old Testament is the Masoretic text. We started seeing major differences just in Exodus within the first chapter. Then we decided we needed to look a little further into the Septuagint itself and its history and the Masoretic and its history. Well, we discovered some pretty scary things. First, the reason the quotes in the New Testament don't match the Old Testament in your Bible is because 90% of them, roughly, are from the Septuagint. The New Testament writers were quoting from the Septuagint, not from the Masoretic text. If it was good enough for Jesus and the New Testament writers, you would think it'd be good enough for those who put our Bibles together. Apparently not. So Dad and I started what we called the Origen Project. Origen was one of the early church fathers. He put together collections of different Bibles, different scriptures. And what we did was we printed out Brenton's translation side by side with the King James Version. And we went through every single chapter of the Old Testament and compared them.
Damn, I'm fucking his butt.
The differences are striking.
I'm fixing that ear,
I
his
leave
brother.
that up to you to go do your research.
I'm cutting off his left ear. I fucked
If you
his.
feel like taking on that task, it's a big task, but it will open your eyes.